Well, the market is finally starting to cool down, but depending on the home, it can still be a challenge to get your offer accepted. So here are 8 tips that can help your offer stand out.
The last 2 years have been exhausting for most home buyers. It was not uncommon for buyers to submit several offers before they finally snagged a winning bid. But the market is definitely cooling off, so things are getting better.
However, if you find a home that you just have to have, here's some tips that just might help you get that perfect home. These first 5 are great to use regardless of market conditions to help your offer stand out.
Tip number 1, have your agent reach out to the listing agent. This is often missed, and in our opinion, it's an extremely important step. We reach out to the listing agent to find out what's most important to the sellers. Is it the highest price? Do they need to close on a certain date? Do they need to lease the home back? Asking these questions can allow us to structure the offer that is most advantageous for the sellers.
Tip number 2, keep your offer clean and simple. Keep your offer simple by not including items such as asking for the refrigerator to be included in the offer or requesting the seller to provide a home warranty or assist you with your closing costs. In a buyer's market, these are very common things to ask for. But in a seller's market and kind of in a balanced market, these items just make your offer seem bloated. And I promise you, there's going to be offers without these items. So keep it simple.
Tip number 3, use a reputable local mortgage lender. One of the first things a listing agent is going to review on the offer, besides the price and terms, is what lender the buyers are planning on using. Using one of the big box lenders can sometimes derail an otherwise great offer. It's not that they can't get the deal done, but they tend to be slower and issues seem to pop up at the last minute. The other challenge is that your realtor will almost never talk to the same person when they call the lender. So that can add to the confusion. Talk to your agent and find out who they would recommend. We currently have 4 local lenders on our site that we have worked with for several years and trust to take care of our clients.
Tip number 4, offer more earnest money. Earnest money is offered with the contract to show the seller that you are earnestly serious about the purchase of the property. When the market is balanced or in a buyer's market, in our area, you can usually anticipate $500 for every $100,000. So a home that's $400,000, you offer $2,000. However, in a seller's market, which is technically what we're still in, we recommend putting down 1 to 2% down to help your offer stand out.
Tip number 5, put down a larger down payment. When agents review contract offers with their sellers, often they will consider the size of the down payment as a sign of financial strength and stability of the buyer. It shows the sellers that as the buyer, you have more money in the bank to access should an issue arise. Additionally, by putting more money down, it's less likely that a low appraisal will sabotage the deal.
Okay, these last 3 tips are good to know about, but based on the current market conditions in August of 2022, now, we don't necessarily think they're required, but just keep them in the back of your mind.
Tip number 6 is offer an escalation clause. An escalation clause allows buyers to increase their offer price above the highest sales price submitted. The buyer's price increases automatically without having the need to resubmit a new contract offer. The escalation clause will also have a cap to limit the maximum amount the buyer is willing to pay.
All right, so let me try to give you an example. Home buyer A submits an offer for $400,000 with an escalation clause stating that they're willing to pay $2,500 above the highest bid with a cap of $425,000. The home receives 10 offers, and the highest initial offer is from buyer B in the amount of $415,000. Based on that information, buyer's A offer will now increase to $417,500. That's $2,500 above the highest offer from buyer B and within the cap of $425,000 as specified in the escalation clause. And to keep everybody honest, in our market, the listing agent must provide a copy of the contract that triggered the escalation clause to the buyer's agent.
Tip number 7 is to include an appraisal gap clause. Appraisal gaps have become one of the most common strategies utilized by home buyers in a hot market to help their offer stand out from others. Sometimes an appraiser will value a home for less than the actual contract price. This happens when homes appreciate faster than the appraiser can justify. Now remember, the appraiser is there to make sure the lender is not going to loan more money than the home is worth. But if the appraisal comes in low, it can often cause the deal to fail. The use of an appraisal gap clause can bridge the difference between the contract price and the appraisal price.
So, in this situation, the home is listed for $400,000 and it ends up going under contract for $450,000, but the appraisal comes in at only $425,000. For this deal to continue, $25,000 difference must be made up. There's a couple of ways that it could be accomplished. The seller could reduce their price by $25,000, which is likely not going to happen in a seller's market. The buyer and seller could split the difference and each bring $12,500 to close the gap, which again, possible, but probably not likely. Or third, the buyer could bring the entire additional $25,000 down to closing in addition to their down payment and their closing costs.
During a seller's market, this is most likely the only way the contract will get to closing. When a buyer includes an appraisal gap clause, they are telling the seller that they will cover the difference between the contract price and the appraisal price. The buyer can also specify that they will cover up to a certain amount between the contract price and appraisal price. And this provides protection to the buyer in cases where the appraisal comes in really super low.
Okay, final tip number 8, waive the inspection contingency. This last tip is one that neither one of us would recommend, but sometimes it can make the difference between getting your offer accepted or not. Once a home goes under contract, the deal's not quite done. The next step is to have a home inspection completed on the property. This can often be a nerve-wracking time process between the seller because they have no control over the home inspector's knowledge or competency, or they just have no idea the overall condition of their property. 5 different inspectors could yield 5 similar but different results. However, the state of Alabama is a buyer beware state, so it's up to the buyer to find any deficiencies with the home, which is why we don't recommend that our buyers waive this. But in a very aggressive seller's market, some buyers will waive the home inspection to increase their chances of getting the winning offer.
Well, that's it. We hope you found these tips to be helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode as we release new videos often about all things Rocket City and real estate.